best book clubs offer something to drink and perhaps a little something to chew on.
He's naked now, she thought, and felt funny in her lower belly.
And he kissed her. And she kissed him back, long, soft kissing, a river of it.
But in a tiny theater on Manhattan's Upper West Side,
I will be reading from The Dirt by Motley Crue. This section was written by Tommy Lee. Hi, I said. Hi, she replied. It's nice to meet you. Well, bye. Bye. That was it, dude. That's all we said. It was brief, it was awkward, and it changed my life. The chick was Heather Locklear, and the guy who introduced us was my accountant, Chuck Shapiro.
This book club blows almost any other out of the water. The show is called Celebrity Autobiography, in their own words. Famous comedians read the autobiographies of other celebrities, word for unbelievable word.
I will be reading from Mr. T, the man with the gold, an autobiography by Mr. T. Well, this is my story about my life, and I wrote it myself without a ghostwriter, because if I had had a ghostwriter, then the book would have become his story instead of my story. I'm sure there will be other books about me.
Books that are completely absurd.
I will be reading from The Unimaginable Life, Lessons Learned on the Path of Love, by Kenny Loggins. Letter from Kenny to Julia on her birthday, 1994. Dear Julia, what do you do when the dream comes true? Things I want to do to you in paradise. 1. I want to read to you and cry in your arms till my head hurts and I fall asleep.
And often entirely amusing.
Good morning. I'm Joan London. Good Morning America may go on the air at 7 a.m., but our workday starts some 3 hours earlier, at 4 a.m. to be exact. The ride to and from Manhattan on the Parkway is quite scenic during the day, but in the pitch darkness of early morning there's nothing to see, and the only sound is the whoosh as we pass an occasional car. But it really wouldn't matter if it were broad daylight, because I don't have time for the scenery.
Eugene Pack is the show's producer.
I remember coming across a book by Vanna White called Vanna Speaks, and it was her memoir, and I thought, oh, wait a minute, Vanna White wrote her autobiography. This has got to be something interesting to look at.
I will be reading from Vanna Speaks. By Vanna White. I think of my job as that of a cheerleader. Of course, as you know, my main job is turning the letters. Merv says that he hired me because I turned the letters better than any of the 200 other women who auditioned. And what's my secret? As I told 60 Minutes, it must be in the wrist.
We don't change any of the words, and it's written in their own words. We're not doing anything but reading what they wrote.
There is no shortage of material or comedians dying to read it.
This is My Turn by Nancy Reagan. I've had my ups and downs with all 4 children, but my relationship with Patty has been one of the most painful and disappointing aspects of my life. Patty was a difficult baby from the start. She demanded constant attention. Once, when Patty was around 2, I was feeding her string beans. She held them in her mouth but simply refused to swallow them. I tried everything I could think of, but nothing worked. Finally, I called the pediatrician. "Don't give in," he said. "Leave the room and go back to her later." An hour and a half passed. And by now it was past her nap time, but Patty was still sitting there with those damn beans in her mouth. When I came in, she looked up at me with a mischievous smile on her face and said, "What I got in my mouth, Mommy."
Finding the right person to read a particular autobiography, producers say, is the key. Opposites work.
The first day I saw Richard Burton.
So Sherry Shepard delivers a perfect Liz Taylor.
The Lord giveth, the network taketh away.
Dale Raphael is a perfect Mary Lou Henner, and Claudia Schiffer plays the perfect Ivana Trump.
I can buy just about anything I want.
We did it again and again that night until we were sure that we were in love.
They were actually telling me that they try to get people to read kind of the opposite of them. So what does that say about you?
I very rarely have sex. Because when you are with somebody that you don't love, once is usually enough.
The intimate details celebrities reveal are stunning.
Come On, Get Happy by David Cassidy. There are some people toward whom, as soon as you meet them, you feel an animal attraction. You just want to have sex with them. The truth is, I guess I never felt that way with Susan Day, my TV sister from the Partridge Family.
Ugly Betty's Michael Urie read from the autobiography of 70s heartthrob David Cassidy.
It's all about this bizarre weekend that he had with his TV sister Susan Day, and it's him going back and forth with his mind and his body deciding if he should have sex with her, basically. He's worried about having sex with his TV sister, which is, I think, still incest.
I was thinking something like, my sister here is attractive, but do I really want to my sister?
And why do you think he even wrote this?
Yeah. I don't know what possessed so many of the people that we read from to write down. I mean, one thing to think it, and then to say it out loud, but then to print it, and then read it again and say, yes, I would like that in the book. Go ahead and make millions of copies of this, and we'll see how we do. It's so bizarre, the things that they'll go into.
We love to look towards the end of the book, because by chapter 17, maybe they've run out of steam and they're going to start with their great lists or try to figure out some stories to add in at the last minute.
Which could explain a chapter in Joan London's autobiography detailing how she gets dressed in the morning.
I always lay out the clothes I'm going to wear into the studio the night before. These are casual clothes, not those I'll wear on the air. I stack them in the order that I put them on. That is, panties on top, then bra, skirt or pants, some kind of casual shirt or sweater, socks, and shoes.
Or Neil Sedaka's few chapters on what he likes to eat.
I order a half a dozen raw oysters or clams, a small mixed salad with oil and vinegar on the side, and a piece of broiled fish or chicken or a veal chop with rice or mashed potatoes.
I'm reading Suzanne Summers tonight.
Ooh.
The poems of Suzanne Summers.
She wrote poetry?
She did. A lot of people don't know that. But she was quite the scribe. And we were making wild and crazy love before the ice had settled in our drinks. It was only 2 weeks, but we loved. God, how we loved. Until you had to go back home with gifts for the children.
Most of the comedians who read these autobiographies say now they'll never write an autobiography out of pure fear.
Maybe don't write one of these.
But a quick search of the bookstore sales racks reveals intimate details of random life stories. So there'll never be a shortage of material or laughs.
Thank you very much.
For Nightline, I'm Sharon Alfonsi in New York.